Going to.
God, Luke, you look just like your dad, man.
I know, I know.
But I get the same thing. People tell me I look like my dad.
You
So,
know, for years my dad told me I was adopted. It was horrible.
um,
And then the older I got, he's like, "Yeah, I had facial reconstructive surgery, so I'd
Uh-huh.
look like you, so you wouldn't feel like you were." Problem is, I look exactly like Grandpa too. So there you go.
oh
So
yeah,
No, no, no. Something fishy going on here.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you.
Goodness, when that screen gets bright, man, it looks like the stars in front of me.
Yeah. It's
Hmm.
hilarious looking.
My sister used to tell me they got me from the pound.
Oh, that's so mean. That's so mean.
His sister's not
I
very
mean,
nice.
granted, I'm the oldest of 4 kids, so there's a lot of neat stuff that I did, I'm sure, to my siblings. I can almost guarantee that, but including your adopted. I think the one that stands out the most to me was my youngest brother. He was 3, 4. He wanted his name to be Rex. He wanted to be called Rex. I was like, no, Lucas, no. Hi, Lucas. Hey, Luke. How you doing, Lucas? What you doing? Pissed him off. He was so mad. He went and tattled on me. And my mom's like,
Hey, Lucas is a good name, Seth. Come on.
Lucas is a good name.
Huh?
Lucas is a great name.
It's a great name.
Yeah. If you like being the youngest. Now I can't pick on him now because he weighs probably the same as I do and he's 6'1", but I'm
That's
not.
what happens when you
I'm
keep
not.
feeding him. You know what I mean?
Well, what's even funnier is I think the one that actually gave him the most crap was my middle brother, Jacob. And he's 5'5", 5'6". So he lost
whoa.
he lost inches. Lucas got them. I was like,
See that?
cheers.
See, that's funny because my older brother, because I'm 6'3", but he's he's like
Mountain of a
5'10". But what?
I called you a mountain of a man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a little,
Mountain of a man.
little freakish. But my brother's 5'10", but he's like twice as strong as me. So it's, even though I've always been taller than him, it's like, oh look, you're like, wow, he's your tall brother, but he's 8 years older than me. But I could never take him on. I do what Big Brother says. Okay, like I do what Big Brother tells me. Man, he raised me. He could whoop my butt. There's
So
nothing
he's
I can do.
5'10". I'm taller than him by an inch.
He used to bench press, like, what was his best? It was like 455. It was 425 or 450.
Good grief.
Back when he was into the bodybuilding, and he was doing a lot of strength training. He's just a freak. And my best is 255.
I am a monster.
When I was in Afghanistan, and he's like 200 pounds plus on me on that.
Goodness. Alright, I gotta wait for this ad so I can monitor everything 3 times because I'm a weirdo.
Are you also on Twitch or no?
I'm. Yes. This is all live.
Awesome.
Chambers
What I'm talking
waits.
about.
Heck yeah.
Well, the audio is coming through about perfect. So
Yeah, it
see
sounds-
that you
it
guys
sounds
are
pretty
really
good.
good at lip sync.
Cool.
Oh wait, lip sync, not tongue. Wait, my bad. What's going on? What are we talking about? All
I'm
right,
just glad this microphone's actually working.
yeah. So you'll listen to it tomorrow or whenever I get it up. Hopefully I remember tomorrow and I'll get it up. Topic of the night is my Xbox 360 stuff or games, or that era, I should say, gonna be worth money eventually? That's the question,
Well,
and I don't know the answer.
Yes.
Short
well,
answer.
there's a couple parts to that. Right now. Now Xbox in general is one of the cheaper ones to collect for.
Mm-hmm.
Even OG Xbox when you look at like right here, because I got them pulled up.
Yeah.
Let's see. So you know, let me pull up real quick. OG Xbox as well. That.
You know, if I'm looking at this monitor, I should probably put my camera there.
And I have to deal with
Oh,
my
no, never mind.
webcam. So
The cable's wrapped up around something. I'm not fidgeting with it right now.
when you look at we're not going to focus on this, but when you look at original Xbox,
Right.
okay, you see that you know, you see the median and the average took a dive back in 2013,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gone back, and it's
wow.
kind of bounced around, you know, back and forth, steady for a while, but then recently has of course gone up. It's gone up, but it's still the average. The average is still only $8. The median's like almost $6.
So people are still selling their original Xbox games and whatever else for $5 to $10 a piece.
Yeah, and that's the average. There's like say like right here, this Otagi 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like here's an example, and I have two of these. I have one that's unopened and one that I paid like $20-$30 for each of them, so I didn't pay very much for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got one that's unopened and one that's open, brand new, like new condition. So new, it's like $200 on average. Complete, it's like around $100. You know, and loose, around 70, and these are the averages per eBay sales. But this is the exception, far from the rule with a lot of OG Xbox. So that's original Xbox. When it comes to 360, crazy enough, you actually see Xbox actually has gone down because when you look at 360 averages, they got the average and median. That was like $25, $19, and it's gone down, up, and then down, up, down, down.
When did the Xbox One come out?
That was 2013.
So that falls pretty much
Just look
right
that
in
up.
line with that graph.
Pretty much, yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
maybe
then-
maybe a few years beforehand, but that definitely falls in line with that.
It makes sense because when you look at, I mean, obviously this only goes back to January of 2010.
Right, right.
But it makes sense because they were still relatively new and current.
Mm-hmm.
So 360 games. So they were they were current, in fact. So
Yeah.
they were still selling at price MSRP. They were still selling, you know, they were still fairly new. So it makes sense they were more. And then as time has gone on, they basically have not, on average, they have not held their value. So now the average is $10 and median's around $7. So the average is around $10.
Which is kind of what I would expect for right now, a 2-generation old console.
Right. So 360 and PS3. Here's PS3, almost the same.
Mm-hmm.
Wii was way up, and then it's down, down, steady down, almost the same.
Right.
They're all almost the same. Wii U is actually a little bit more than right now.
We use the newer. Well, no, it's not the newest.
Yeah.
It's not the newest.
No,
It's the
See,
one.
Wii
It's the
U's
one in
which-
between.
Yes, so Wii U's a little. I kind of lump Wii U with Wii because it's right after it was right. It came out in 2012.
Right.
It came out a year before Xbox One. It never truly competed, even though it kind of did. It tried to, but it didn't really. It was weird. It was very weird. Wii U was strange because it tried to compete with Xbox One and PS3. I'm sorry, PS4, and it
Right.
tried to, but failed miserably to even attempt so. And it was only and it
Petered
didn't
out.
last very long. So Wii U's kind of weird. So it's literally caught right in between the previous generation into that generation. It's like stuck in the middle. But otherwise, but essentially though, 360, PS3, and Wii, which were all the same generation,
Mm-hmm.
were all the medians around $10.
So,
The
so
average.
Steven, for I mean, like obviously Super Nintendo, those all became collectibles, right? But those also
yes.
did a nosedive for a while, and then started to come back up. Like, what was the time range on those?
Oh, well, you know what? Let's
'Cause-
pull up one.
Because I think what's going to have to happen is our generation, as we get more seasoned, right, and we get further away from those, and those become harder to get, is really where we'll start to see that increase in value.
See, you're actually right because, I mean, there's so many games I paid 20, $30 for that are worth several times that now. Years ago. So the average for Super Nintendo back over 10 years ago, was around $10. The average.
So right where the Xbox market is right now, but since there's no data past that, you can't really tell how long how long that held that way.
Well,
oh, now you're the right way.
But then we see average is $40 now. That's 4 times higher than the average of 360. That's a lot.
That is. What is that Nintendo Power Fest night? Is 1994? What is that?
Oh wow, this is a motherboard of some sort. I don't even know what this is for.
Huh.
Yeah, this is something I would have to research to see what this is. I don't know what this. That's kind of this is a holy grail, some kind of like that. There's like 2 of them out there, kind of thing.
Right. One sale per year.
It's like a prototype or something. This is something
has to be.
Yeah. So I don't know what that is, but this is one. I've held one of these. I was at a convention and me and this guy dug this out of a pile of his games that he was looking at. Okay, this is real. And he was like, I don't know what this is. I didn't know I had this. It was mint condition, and then I pulled it up, and at that time, it was worth like $900.
Good grief! Now loose is 3,300 basically.
Yeah, and it's about 6 a year are getting sold, are exchanging hands. So
which game is that?
Star Fox.
Game is that?
It is a version of Star Fox, not meant for sale.
Oh,
so it's
weird.
Very unusual. It's not meant for resale. It says it right here.
Is it like a store sample or something?
Yeah, something like that. Like kind of like champion, like this Donkey Kong Country competition. This was meant for competitions, like speed running competitions or something. Blockbuster. This is a Blockbuster exclusive competition thing. So this is not a normal retail cart. That's why it's so rare.
That's dope. And why the price is all over the place. It's like trying to compute data for 3 or 4 things sold.
Right.
So, question: what was the year where the prices on the 360 and the PS3 games and things like that started, and Xbox and whatnot started tanking? What year was that?
From what I'm seeing here, looks like the lowest point is the average of a 7 and change at around.
Yeah, but what year?
2017.
2017. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then it just stayed that way almost. It's gone up a little bit since it stayed that way all the way to 2019 into 2020.
So I pose the question: does digital and reverse compatibility on the systems might have something to do with that?
Oh, it definitely has an impact, depending on what it is. Like, let's say, I've actually seen a couple cases where a game that was kind of under the radar that became backwards compatible, and people were like, "Oh, I remember that game. I want to play that." And all of a sudden, you couldn't find them floating around in the stores anymore. Like retro game stores that carry stuff like that.
Huh.
That people start snatching them up because it became backwards compatible. They would rather physically own them, put them in the console and play them, than pay for a new digital copy.
My brain went somewhere that, or download it for free if you could download it for free, you would just download it for free. You wouldn't go spend $20 on a retro copy so you could physically have it. You would download it.
You're half right though, because they are cheaper to buy them digitally. They're usually like $10-15 tops, if not cheaper, especially when they're on sale.
Well, a lot of these things going on like Xbox Game Pass and stuff like that.
That too.
If you're signed up for it, I try to make it a point to download 1 or 2 games a month so I feel like I'm actually getting my money's worth out of it. But sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Yeah, so it definitely. So here's the thing, though. Right now, as far as this generation goes, I'm going to try not to go off to the weeds of other stuff, because clearly other stuff has gone way up. That if you didn't collect it before, it's hard to collect now. Super Nintendo, PlayStation 1, Sega Saturn, so on. Anything 90s, anything early 2000s. The only thing I would say early 2000s, OG Xbox, a little bit PlayStation 2. GameCube is really tough. Dreamcast is tough.
Hmm. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's just the hard as far as going and finding them, and a lot of them are worth money. They're harder. They're more expensive. But as far as 360, as far as this generation goes, I'll try to focus on this. As far as this generation goes, it is actually still a pretty good time to collect them because they're still not worth a whole lot on average.
Especially if you're just jumping into something like, I want all of the OG COD games playable in a box. I want copies of whatever series or just anything. I remember having this game. I'm just gonna go buy it or find it on eBay and purchase it.
Right. The only things the trend I've noticed with especially 360, the trend I've noticed with all the things that you see all these top ones, like when I click on most expensive, all the top ones, whether it be loose or complete in box, that's what CIB, complete in box.
Right.
Or obviously new. I mean, whatever. But these are all Ultimate Editions, Inquisitors Editions, Collector's Editions. Out of all these, this is the only one I have. Well, sorry, not that one. Halo Reach. I think Halo 3.
You passed Halo 3.
Right here. This is the only one I have out of all these crazy editions of 360 stuff. I actually do have this. But you know what's funny? It's worth just completed. It's worth like
a few dollars.
Like $30 more than what I paid for it new.
Yeah, say a few bucks.
It's held its value by some.
My buddy Ben has that Black Ops 2 care package, or at least did at one point.
Black Ops 2.
Yeah, I've got the
Call of Duty.
Halo helmet, set up.
I don't know.
Oh, you do?
For,
Few people
for-
have
yeah,
You have
for,
the Legendary Edition?
yeah, I've got it all boxed up. I don't know why. I tried to sell it at a yard sale, nobody wanted it. This is a long time ago. So I just figured,
Okay.
I'll keep it.
Care package is worth pretty decent. Pretty
Yeah.
decent.
If
You're gonna get
it's complete.
150-ish bucks for it. Yeah.
That's
It's cool.
Yeah, he him and our buddy, I think his name was Kevin. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. Went to the midnight release to the GameStop in the mall and in the town we lived in, and Kevin's about your size, Steven, and it's like there was about 20 kids eyeing him like,
Releases.
yeah, that guy. We want what he has. And Ben's 5'6", tiny, just scrappy but tiny. And he's like, I needed a bodyguard, and I knew you had work at 5 a.m. the next day, so I didn't call you. Very nice, very nice. But yeah, it was a fun story. He opened the game, played with the little drone that came in it for a little bit, and I can't remember if it broke or whatever. But as of a couple years ago, he still had everything. I don't know if he still does it or not, or if he sold it or gave it away or whatever. Be kind of cool if he still had it, though. Wonder if he does.
Yeah, it's funny because everybody knew that, those are going to hold their value. They're going to be collectible. People like them. They're not cheap. They weren't cheap from the very beginning. So
No.
You did invest. And like I said, as you can see, a lot of them have held value. A lot of them either held or exceeded their value, so they're doing okay. But other than those, most games are cheaper than what you bought them new. Most of them.
Well, I
Vast
believe
majority.
that. Yeah, I definitely believe
And
that.
so in 20 years, to answer your question, in 20 years, considering all the variables, maybe. I would say it's going to go. Well, you know what? You know what's going to be the impact here? That's different from before. The shift from physical to digital media.
Right.
That's going to be the thing that really changes all that from before. It's going to make the stuff that's even older skyrocket even further, and it's going to make the stuff like 360 PS3 actually climb the ranks of being more sought after, rare, more valued.
You guys
all that
remember?
stuff.
You guys remember how mad everybody was when the pictures of the original Xbox One came out and it didn't have a disk drive?
Oh yeah.
You remember how
Yeah.
mad
It
people
was,
were? And
it was
then
digital only. Yeah.
yeah, and, and about a couple of years in, I preferred just buying the game online and downloading it. I don't know if
I haven't bought a physical copy since day one of the Xbox One release.
Mhm.
I'm all digital
You know,
since then.
if you think about it, in a way, this generation there won't be collector games because the digital copies, I mean, those are going to be what they are, right? So it's going to be very interesting to see what this generation, current generation, uses for their collectibles in this space as time goes on. Because like for us, the Nintendo, the Super Nintendos, those were the consoles to play when we were younger, right? And those in order for you to have a functioning game today, you had to have taken care of it, and there's just not a whole lot of those out there.
Yeah, one thing I saw, and it actually pissed me off because it was something I wanted to get, and Nintendo's website couldn't handle the traffic, so it was down for days, and then when it finally came up, it sold out instantly.
Dang it.
That's what tells me there's still a strong market for physical media, particularly the more expensive. And this was only like 80 $90. It's not like astronomical, not like $150 version or something. It's a Xenoblade Chronicles Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and on the Switch. And I have the other Legendary Editions that are really cool. And I was like, all right, I'm going to finish the trilogy with the third one. And Nintendo decided instead of releasing it like normal, like we always do, we're going to have it exclusive to Nintendo's shop. And the website servers could not handle the traffic, so like I said, it went completely phooey. And
Dang it.
And then finally, when it came back up, me and Matt, Luke, me and Matt were trying to get it. And then by the time we checked back, it was finally up. They said limits reached. Can't order anymore. Sorry. Have a nice day. They're gone.
Oh man.
See, but you know what part of that problem is though? Scalpers. Scalpers are
Oh, yeah.
a big problem.
Well,
with a lot of this.
scalpers are ruining everything right about now.
Yeah, scalpers have been an absolute problem.
Like finding the new Series S or finding the new
Yeah.
Xbox Series X. I actually had to pay because I wanted an X, but I was willing to pay MSRP for it. I actually had to buy my S at an inflated price just because I needed it. My old VCR Xbox was pooey. It was taking a
Yeah.
dump on me. So yeah, but it wasn't like the Series X's were being marked up to like $900. And the Series S's, I found one for I think $370, so $70 over MSRP. Somebody got a little paycheck, and it kind of pissed me off, and it kind of didn't. But I was glad I had one in my hands,
Right.
and it came
Right.
complete. It came unopened, like
Yep.
everything it said it was. So I wasn't too
That's not
disappointed
too
with
bad.
that purchase. No,
That's
it's
not
not.
too bad.
But at the same time, like there was a genuine supply for them. And if scalpers weren't involved, the supply and demand plus resale market wouldn't have skyrocketed the way it did. And same goes with everything else that's limited release right now. If people know about it, there's bots. There was a bot that my buddy actually signed up for. It was a service, and I think it cost him 50 extra bucks. But it put all of his credit card information in, and shipping address and everything like that. And it would just search websites. Best Buy, GameStop, everything like that. And when one came available, it purchased it almost instantly and shipped it to his house for a small fee.
Yep. Yep. That's
Yep,
exactly right.
I've been hearing about those
Hmm.
for a while now.
Now,
I think
it
it's
sounds
dumb.
all right for somebody.
Yeah.
You know what? If it were like sincerely people that are only buying it for themselves, but we all know that gets abused by scalpers. That's the
Oh, yeah.
problem.
Well, no, we know that software only exists because the scalpers decided they wanted to make an extra few bucks on top of their gathering of a million units we can
Mhm.
also rent out the program for people
Yeah.
and make even a little more money.
Hmm. Like, well, I've got I'm sitting on 1,000 units right now. They're all listed on eBay. I don't need any more, so let's make this available for people since I'm not using it.
So there's a website. It's probably the most popular, called Limited Run Games. You may have heard of it. They make they do physical media, special edition physical media re-releases and stuff all the time, and they make millions,
Mm-hmm.
millions and millions. I mean, they make every release. It's like Blade Runner that just released digitally, which I'm fine with. I actually have the original PC box, so I'm good with this. I'm trying to even entertain this, but like this, right? The Turtles, right? So this is really cool. I almost bought this, but I just couldn't afford it right now. It's a VHS special cover, style cover, and then inside is like Pizza Hut
That's cool.
style coupon, like was in the original game, which I have in mind, by the way, my original Turtles Super Nintendo game.
That's dope.
And then Steelbook. This is the PS4 version. There's a Switch version, PS4. There's actually a version for all three of this. So this is all Limited Run does. They take games and they give them really, really cool physical. And these always make it onto like a lot of Limited Run games make it onto the most valuable Switch games lists.
Oh, I believe
Once
that.
they sold it out,
I
and they don't
believe
make them anymore. Mm-hmm.
They instantly retain value.
Yes, Limited Run games they make really good products. They're just as authentic as anything straight from, because obviously they're sponsored by the actual studios and developers and all that. So it's just but it's at premium price, and you have to pre-order them, and then after you buy them, it's like limited pre-orders, and then it takes probably a year plus by the time you actually get it because they're making it.
That's crazy.
So, like I bought a what was it? Blood Rain 1 and 2 pack for PS4, and I still haven't gotten them. It's like a year ago. So, but they do really good stuff though. I've got several things from them. So yeah, 20 years, man, there's a lot of variables. And you know what, Mike and I were talking about the other day, how, because he asked the question, he said, well, if something that was like super collectible, but then it becomes digitally available. I mean, we talked about this earlier too. Mm-hmm. Does that physical version of it, people are like, well, this isn't worth money now, because now you can just buy it for $10 digitally. So now the very, very short term, it can impact it a little bit. But every time, there's so many cases I've seen where it might have affected it for a few minutes, and then shortly after, and then for the rest of the time, that thing just continues to go up and up and up in value, even when there's alternatives to playing it.
So you might see it slowly rising and then kind of plateau for a little bit, maybe dip a tiny tad, and then continue its trend after.
And then back to business as usual.
After the initial shock of I can get it for $10 to $15 online. Wears
exactly.
off.
That's what usually happens. Like Chrono Trigger on Super Nintendo is a pretty good example of that, because it's still one of the top valued. Valued Super Nintendo games. It's like Chrono Trigger on Super Nintendo. I mean, loose, it's $220.
Mm-hmm.
Complete, we're talking near pushing $1,000, which is crazy because the box. You remember, the box itself is worth almost $500. It's worth
right.
$500.
The box is worth double what the game itself is loose.
Yes. But you know what though? But see, once again, look at this: heritage auctions.
Mm-hmm.
See, the 28 grand, 48 grand, 28 grand, money laundering. That's crap. It's all crap. So I ignore those. Those are illegitimate. Those are not legitimate. That's money laundering.
So those would probably all fall under the graded price.
Yeah,
when you're looking at that.
Thankfully, they have its own category, graded.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say 18 grand. Those are horse manure. That category's unfortunately tainted because of that.
So completed, if you were dying to actually have this game completed, you could probably find it on eBay for around $900. $900 to $1,000, probably.
Like, I'll tell you, like, what I have. I have a cart and booklet mint condition in a custom case. I don't have the original box. So I could get around
$350-ish,
like,
maybe.
300 to 350 tops for what I have, right? Which is very nice. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So this game, you know, as you can see from, it's been on DS, It's been on PlayStation 1. I have that version too. And digitally, it's been on PlayStation 1 through PlayStation 3 to this day. You can download it for like $10 on PlayStation Network. Play it on PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 1 port. So there are, and the DS is considered a very good version of it, even though it's kind of worth money too now.
Right. So the
My
DS.
sister has one.
What's the strategy guide console? What is that?
Strategy guide.
Strategy guide.
The one above that?
It's literally the
Oh,
guide.
the guide. The guide
The
itself.
actual
Oh,
guide.
okay.
Nintendo Power Player's Guide. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. It was like, what?
I've got some guides. Yeah, they're worth money, dude. The guides have really, they've held their value in a bunch. They really do. Guides are very valuable nowadays because people love to have that in their hands versus Googling how to, it's Googling strategy. Like me, like I play Chrono Cross, I go to my old guide. I have 2 of them for that reason.
One you can actually look through and use, and one for just whatever.
As a backup in case, because the other one's pretty worn out.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Steven, can you look up Diablo Hellfire?
What was Diablo Hellfire?
It was a limited release.
Diablo
Extension.
Hellfire. That's on PC. So it's extension on PC. It's pretty cheap.
Loose, $12,
So you can get the whole box for like
$15.
somebody got scammed on this one. Like
Oh.
one person, but
Oh.
these are like 15,
Somebody got
15.
scammed.
Like somebody's like, "Oh man, it looks so nice. Yeah, I'll drop 130," and it's like everybody else is like the best is like 50 to 60.
Gotcha.
But yeah. So, not too bad. I mean, and loose, it's even better. I mean, there's a bunch of them loose. They sold for lots of prices, not very much. It's not bad. If you really
'Cause
want it, it's not that bad.
I've got one brand new in the case unopened.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Brand new, huh?
Yep.
Wow. So now new
I
on the
ended-
other hand, that's legitimate. Like
I ended
154
up with-
right there.
I ended up with 2 copies. One I played, one I just left new.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. No, that's worth a good chunk of change. You can get.
I gotta go
easy $100
find
bucks.
it. But no, I know I think I know where it's packed away. But no, I had and then I had 2 of the Diablo 2s. One unopened. One I
Ooh, really?
played through.
That's gonna be worth. That's actually gonna be worth something. I can guarantee that. Was it the big box
Yep, big box with the
like this?
with the guide. Yep.
Oh wait, with the guide. Did this come with the guide? Which I know that was more common in those days.
Yeah, no. If you bought the big box, it came with the guide.
Wow, new. They're. Oh wait a minute. Woo! They're worth a good chunk of change, new.
It looks like what, $200 to $600, depending on who's willing to pay for it.
Basically, now this one, somebody was like, "I'm a millionaire and I don't care."
Mm-hmm.
Like $2,500. Like somebody just did not care about money.
Literally.
Well, hey, find that buyer. Find
Yeah. Do you need another
that
one?
buyer.
That's like the first one that popped up from an impatient buyer. I need it now.
Yeah.
$2,500. Doesn't matter. Done.
Oh yeah, no, I've got one. I got one new one. I got one T-shirt edition.
Oh.
You know, the been rubbed on the T-shirt too many times to try to
Oh.
clean it.
Oh no, you're breaking my heart.
Oh, it's so true.
That's freaking hilarious. One new, one T-shirt edition. Oh, T-shirt edition. Oh.
Was it the Brady Games guide, or is it like a did it look like that?
That's it.
That's it.
Yep.
Brady Games.
Yep.
Okay. That's cool. Brady Games, those are good guides. I've got a lot of Brady Games guides.
Yeah, the guide. To be honest with you, the one of the guides I've got is completely destroyed because I used it so much that I did cardinal sins. I highlighted things and I dog-eared things. But I was making money off of it at the time. What was I supposed to do?
It's not worth much. You saw it. It's like worth like $7.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't have to feel bad.
Yeah. No, you used it when it was intended.
I need to send you
Exactly.
guys. I've got screenshots of the gloves and stuff. My top sellers off that character. I need to dig those up and send them over to you guys.
Oh. See, here's a funny one, right? So this is still only on PC. I don't know why. They could easily port to consoles, but they haven't yet. This is the Duke Nukem engine, the Duke Nukem 3D engine that made this game.
Okay.
First person game. It's a great game. So this is, like, see, this is exactly what the original big box looked like. I actually have one of these, of the original big box.
Hmm.
That box is worth what this whole thing is alone.
Oh, crazy. The original
But
one?
now, yes, the original. So, but I paid $50 for, but it's worth like this or more. But this has a action figure. It's got like the DLCs. It's got stickers. It's got blah blah blah. And this is cool. If I didn't already have it, like if I didn't have the original PC copy the way I do, I would be wanting this super bad, even though it's $150. That's a lot. But this is what the game looks like, though. This is the Duke Nukem 3D engine.
Oh, wow.
Such a fun game. It's hilarious. It's got so many. Like Duke Nukem, it's got a lot of humor. It's got a lot of movie references throughout, like horror movie references, pop culture movies. The main guy, talks throughout. It's great. It's a great game. I love it. I love Blood. Been playing it since I was a kid.
Here's something. I showed Chaos earlier, but
Oh, that. I need to look that up.
the
I should
steering
go look
wheel
up
for
accessories.
Xbox 360, the wireless one.
Very nice.
Nothing.
I need to borrow that, Seth. I need to teach my daughters how to drive.
No.
That's the first mistake.
Doesn't.
But
doesn't-
trying to
doesn't work
teach them
like
or
that.
trying to use the.
Trying to use this to teach him, because on driving games it's just throttle down and go.
Oh, gotcha.
I mean, it was made to pair with a Forza. So Forza with the really fast cars, you can't just throttle down and zippity doo all day. But make sure, Chaos, that you're not showing anything that you don't want to be shown.
It's only dots.
Okay.
Yeah, good call. All right, so Xbox 360. I misspelled steering. Did it again.
Stern wheel.
Steering wheel. Oh, there it is.
$20.
Let's see, yeah, you get basically a brand new one. It's got like part of the box missing. So yeah, they're floating around out there for not too much.
Yeah.
So it's just neat to have. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about these.
Yeah, and it still worked. I just stopped playing Forza, or
Yeah.
or I either that or I got my Xbox One, one of the two. I try.
Logitech monstrosity.
That is an absolute.
Anyway.
What does the controller bolt into it or something?
Oh, wait a minute.
It-
Oh,
it
maybe
might.
is something like that. It's a deep dish adapter.
Hmm.
Some kind of adapter. Okay. That makes sense.
Weird.
But yeah, no, right
Yeah.
now is actually not too bad as far as now there is then there's oddballs so PS3, 360, Wii, give or take, obviously the most expensive titles, the rarest ones. It's an okay time to collect for those things if you really want. With the exception of something like the Siberia collection for PS3, for some reason I paid $20 for years ago. It's like $300 now, out of nowhere. I don't know why. It just is.
Hmm.
The last year, and this year, it skyrocketed. I don't know why. It just did.
So short of really, like you said, short of very limited runs and special edition stuff that you
For the most part,
potentially jump in and maybe land on some random things like that where you spent $20 on it and it's worth $300-$400 now.
Yes, and this is like literally right here. These are all the top of sold, loose, and complete in box PS3 things. and Last of Us post-pandemic edition, like these big editions, Last of Us Armored Core. But then for some reason, this right here, I have this. It's open, but it's like new. It's like new because I've never played it.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, like with the or that's new. Hold on, sold. I mean for complete in box. Look at all those.
Weird.
That's what mine is. It's like new, complete in box, and for some reason, just
Flew up in price.
yeah, it just blew up. I don't know why. And there's nothing. It's not like this is a print of it where her hand is missing or something weird. It's like no, it just is.
Like the random, there may be 10 to 50 of these in the world type of things where the print's messed up or
Right.
they missed
And
the eye or whatever.
Like there's I thought I saw that there was a version of I didn't know this, but I was looking through Nintendo games and there was a version of Punch Out, of Mike Tyson's Punch Out, that has there's like bullet points below the title on the cart, and if the bullet points are in white, that's a rarer print and it's worth more money. If it's orange, that's the standard. That's the kind of the more typical. So mine's just typical. It's just orange bullet point. But if they're white bullet points, it's more rare. And then apparently with Nintendo, there's some of these Nintendo carts. There's a 5-screw variant, because you know how you look at the back, you got the screws, so you can actually see them.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a 5-screw variant on a handful of Nintendo titles back in the day, and those are all worth a lot of extra money.
I've
never seen one.
Miss one or?
Oh, they're like I think it's a whole extra screw
Oh, okay.
in the design of the cart or something.
Huh.
I'm like, I think there's normally 4, and for some reason this variant had 5.
It's 4 in the corners, and the ones are like, we're gonna put another one right here somewhere.
Yeah.
So if you're looking through your old Nintendo stuff and you see some of them have the back, or some of them have 5 screws on the back, you might want to Google that or eBay it and see see if it's worth money.
Yeah, let me verify that. I don't want to put out something that's not completely accurate. It's like right here on the top of
Oh,
Hmm?
Oh, so I decided to do some research on the Siberian collection.
Oh, yeah?
So, the guy who designed it, the story writer, what's his name? I cannot pronounce that name, but it's Nordic. He's a very famous artist, and he died this year, or last year.
Oh. Okay.
That's literally it, dude. 'Cause it's literally been this year. Like since
he
January.
died May 28th, 2021.
Or okay. Yeah, it's been within this year that it skyrocketed. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, you know what it is? That's one of the.
He's like
that's probably-
famous. He does a lot of cartoons and all kinds of art, and he's
Okay.
done a lot.
Okay, I'm glad you found that. That makes perfect sense, because that's probably one of the least printed versions of the game or something.
Yeah.
Very
I
well
just started
could
going
be.
down rabbit holes, and I found the guy who designed it and found out all about him.
Ah,
Yeah, he's
that
a
makes
comic
sense.
That's
artist.
crazy. See that spike?
And a video game developer.
So something similar could happen if you had a special edition of the Halo 1 release for Xbox in pretty good condition if one of the lead designers, hopefully, doesn't unfortunately pass away, but suddenly did. So a similar situation could happen.
Yeah. Like, I've seen those games before,
Mhm.
like ages ago. But now it makes sense after.
Oh, okay. This is the 5-screw thing.
Okay.
So normally, what we're used to seeing are the tabs. To the tab, it's got the tab here, the tab here, the 2 upper
okay.
corners.
Okay.
So probably it was cheaper to do it that way,
Mm-hmm.
rather than using more metal screws.
And it
So they
probably
redesigned it.
they
to-
probably got put together faster that way too. They could up
Yeah.
their demand or up their output.
Right. I almost guarantee you that's what it is, right? So
Oh, yeah.
it used to, or in some of them, probably like a handful, like apparently, what was it, Mega Man, the
Mhm.
original Mega Man. That old ass artwork of Mega Man. I think it's called Ultraman in Japan. I think I'd have to verify that. but-
just a loose card, casually worth $3,100.
yeah. So this is the 5-screw thing. So if it doesn't matter what title it is, if you see 5 screws where you see 2 screws on the upper left and right corners, it could be worth some, because apparently those are They phased them out relatively quick. That's interesting.
So
That's kind of an example of what we're talking about with stuff that's like, oh, it's a manufacturing thing that they changed, and now
Right.
they're rare, and it's you know, blah blah blah. So that's interesting.
cool, man. So I think the answer to the question basically is more than likely, unless for some weird reason, physical copies of stuff and having a console to play it on, unless for some weird reason all of that just becomes undesirable, the answer is yes. Eventually,
Yes.
these will start making money or start being worth more. Now, how far that goes, that's the answer we don't have. They
If
could-
anything, the industry is going to, regardless of what people want, the industry is going to phase out physical media and push
Oh,
for
they-
digital, and
they're
that's
pushing
just
that.
and that's going to drive the physical media market across the board up and up and up and up, because people want it regardless of what the industry thinks. See, the industry wants, they've been wanting digital rights management and digital only stuff for years. They are pushing for it. Consumers aren't. They are.
right? Because
So they're going to do it. They're going to do it regardless.
then if I want to try a game out, well, this stems back to when you could rent them. You know, you can't rent a game now for $5, play it for a couple days, and turn it back in like you could with Hollywood or Blockbuster Video. You know, if I wanted to try a game out, do I really want to spend $60
True,
on
but
this later?
Xbox has gone down the Game Pass
That's true too. Yeah.
road,
Yeah, well-
which is more or less that now.
Mhm.
So
And well,
But
especially.
it's all subscription based, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean,
Very-
if you think
very
about it,
true.
they're making all their money off of subscriptions, where in the past, you didn't have that. When Steven was done with his game, I could go borrow it off him or I could buy it off him, and they don't make any more money.
Right.
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 Exactly.
I get it from Steven. Well, if it's digital, Steven can't give me that game once he's done. There's no game to give.
Mhm. Some
And so
True.
really,
some titles
Well-
isn't there game sharing on some titles, and that might be like Xbox to Xbox stuff too.
Well, I mean, the workaround is you have, okay, if you have two friends that one wants to play another game that another friend has digitally, is you have your profile transferred to their Xbox.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever games you have access to, that they do as well.
As long as you're not both signed on at the same time.
correct. But I do think it's gonna. That's where the fundamental change is. I mean, there's more money in it for the developers if everyone has to buy a copy because it's digital.
Yeah.
You can't just pass the physical copy around.
That
We saw it, and Seth brought it up earlier with the reveal of the Xbox One, which was a absolute
Yeah.
blunder, blunder. No,
Blunder.
Blunder?
Blunder.
That was an absolute blunder. What happened when the Xbox One was revealed, and to the point where it took them almost half their generation to recover and catch up with PlayStation 4. It was
even
so
even
bad.
though they reverted, and they all came with a disc slot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they still, it was just such a disaster from the beginning that it just reverberated, and it took time. It took years to get over it. And on top of that, the Kinect, the way they pushed the Kinect and all that crap, and the processing power was like 20% of the CPU or something or so was like dedicated to this Kinect, so it was less power that they had developers had access to, so on. So it just was.
And you could only buy it with maybe
At
I'm
first, it was the Kinect only. You had to drop $500 for the whole thing with the Kinect. PS4 was $400, and it had more power.
Mhm.
So it just they just shot themselves in the foot early on.
Yeah, because I
really did.
remember waiting waiting to buy my Xbox One until I could buy just the console because I had no need for the Kinect or anything like that.
Mine died. It was a waste of time.
It was funny going over to my buddy's house because he had his all hooked up and everything like that. And if somebody moved wrong, like whatever we were watching would pause or quit completely if we were watching a movie or
Yeah.
or the
you
or
had
the
to
game.
manually turn off certain things.
Yeah, or the game would pause, mid campaign or something like that, or would back out of a match randomly, or go hit basically Xbox go home and it, like no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stand up the way I stood up. I'm sorry, you're confused.
That was an interesting time because I got one day one regardless because because they actually undid the worst stuff they thought they were going to be doing, and I went ahead. Actually, the reason I got one day one.
Oh,
Oh.
apparently there's a time limit on this too. Our call ends in 10 minutes. That's still better. That's still doable for hour-long episodes.
It is
versus Zoom.
It is. So I'll wrap it up. So the reason I got Xbox One is because of Killer Instinct. So that was a launch exclusive.
Mhm.
I had to have Killer Instinct, so I bought Xbox One day one, and I've loved it since day one. I've always liked it. I remember I was like, yeah, they did some stupid stuff, but man, I'm really enjoying this. Then I got a PS4, and I enjoyed both.
Mm-hmm.
I got an Xbox One because I love my 360.
360 was so good. It was so good.
And at the time there was no cross-platform or anything, so all of my buddies had Xboxes.
Yeah.
There was a couple people,
Yeah.
a couple coworkers that were on PlayStation that would have been fun to play with, but I wasn't gonna go buy a second console just for that.
Oh.
That and having, let's see, at the time it was the one kid and very limited income, and we had to pinch pennies just to get me the Xbox One.
You know what? Oh, man, it sucks that we don't have more time because, at least on the Google thing here, because there's a lot to talk about with PlayStation 3 versus 360. There's a lot of nuance there, and it's really fun because I love both, even though I like the 360 more. But the PS3 had a lot of great things about it, and then the 360 did certain things better. The PS3 did certain things better, and then the disaster that the 360 went through hardware wise,
Oh yeah.
but then recovered from. So it was very, very interesting.
There's that disaster, and the PS3 had the disaster of they got hacked.
Yeah.
There was that too.
Yeah, I
oh
forgot
my
about that.
God. That free to play, the free used to be free PSN.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stand the fanboys. We're gonna have to talk about fanboys at some point too, because I can't stand fanboys.
Maybe this will be a
look forward
good
to that episode.
a good topic for next week. Did we just
Yes.
discover next week's topic?
I think we did.
Fanboys and PlayStation 3 versus Xbox 360 next week.
Something I can stick my teeth in.
Alrighty, well if that's that, I think we'll wrap it up. And this will probably be live, if I remember, tomorrow after I get off work. It'll be live on YouTube. So I'll send the links out.